It is hard to say.
Yeah.
It's like a little it's like a Peter Piper picked his paper clips, you know? It's not,
Yes.
you know, the
Mm-hmm.
Human Torch was denied a bank loan. You know. Hi, and welcome to Beer with Geeks, where two geeks geek out with beer. I'm Tim, and with me, as always, is the man, the myth, the guy who loves making lists of scary stuff. It's Frank. How are you today?
Hey, I am spooked. I am spooked and scary. How are you, my friend?
I am also spooked and scary, but
Oh,
just not maybe in a different way than you are. Who's to say? And maybe at a different age with different stuff. Frank, it's a pleasure to see you as always. For people who are usually our just our audio listeners, this might be the first time that you're seeing our faces as we have transitioned into YouTube as well. So hello, hello. We look exactly like all other podcasters, white and bearded. Here we are.
pretty much.
Um, Pretty much, but that's okay. You know, we are who we are.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Tim and Frank.
Yep. That's
Frank,
us.
how are you? Yeah,
I'm
how are
doing
you?
good. I'm doing good. I'd love to tell you about what I'm drinking because I think you've had this before. I think you brought this to the show before. I am having a 101 Cider House Cactus Rosé. Is this not the one that you had? I guess I'm thinking of something else.
You might have been thinking something else, but that looks good, and I'm interested. I like rosés. I like cactuses. I like fuchsia. I don't know.
Hmm.
How is it? Tell me.
Um, hmm. Sour.
Oh, that's a little disappointing.
Yeah. Hmm.
Sour is a very specific mood. You have to really
Yes.
want sour.
Yes, you have to really want sour. I'm not a you know what? I'm not a particularly big fan of sour beers, but I do like sour foods. Like I love like Sour Patch Kids. Like, you know what I mean? Like I don't avoid. In fact, I seek out sour, but for some reason I don't like I'm not the biggest fan of sours as a style of beer. Or like what's the other? I can't another style I can't think of right now. But no, yeah, the more sour kinds of beer and beverages, I'm not as big a fan of. This is I'm getting it's like the sourness is coming from the rosé, I think.
Mm, bad grapes.
Um, Although you know what? No, I take that back. I think as I'm getting more of it, it says cactus pear, basil, hibiscus, and lemon peel. So I think the lemon is definitely contributing to that, and probably the I mean, it is cider, so probably the apples have some sourness to them too. But anyway,
Mm.
it's not bad. It's just not really my cup of tea, but that's okay. It's got zero sugar. It is wild fermented and all that good stuff. So yeah,
Maybe would not have again kind of thing.
not for me. This is one of Marissa's.
Mm.
So she's more. It almost reminds me of a kombucha,
Oh,
which I
okay.
don't care for personally. So, but she does. So that explains why she had a bunch of these in the fridge. But I wanted to try something new, and you know what? I regret it. Don't try something new, kids. Stick with what you know.
I did stick with what I know.
Okay, what do you
Hilarious.
got?
So I don't think I've ever had this on the show, but this is just a Cisco Brewery Whale's Tail.
Mm-hmm.
Look at that. Look at that label.
I love it.
So
Yeah,
beautiful.
it's changed since the last time I saw it. Actually,
Yes,
it's
indeed. I do
yeah.
believe so. Cisco's Cisco Brewery or Cisco Brewers is on Nantucket,
Mm-hmm.
Nantucket Island. And so but they kind of distribute locally
Yes.
off island around here. They're making their way uptown,
Yeah.
as it were.
Yeah.
Uh,
They have a tap room here in New Hampshire.
do they?
Yeah,
Really?
very close to me. Yeah.
Is it good? Because the one around here is excellent.
It's awesome. The food is
Yep.
great. They
Mhm.
have live music there a lot. It's a lot of fun. We'll go and take our daughter and she'll just like stand in front of the stage and dance. It's really cute. So it's a lot of fun.
That's great.
So yeah, it's awesome. I love them. And yeah, the food is actually very good.
Good, good. I'm glad to know that it ours is not like an isolated goodness. I
Mm.
prefer that goodness gets shared.
Yeah, right. Providence, is that where the one near
Actually,
you
it's in
is?
Bedford.
Oh, is it?
It's not
Okay.
in Providence, yeah, but just across the water from Nantucket, really.
Just yeah, right, right. Yeah. Huh. Fun.
But
Fun,
anyway,
fun, fun.
yeah, it's a pale ale. It's not on the it's a more on the wetter than drier side of
Yeah,
pale
yeah.
ale. It's not too dry, which I appreciate. Um, and so it's just smooth. It's a good drink. Although I don't think I've ever had a Cisco's that I've disliked. I'm
Same.
Cisco fan.
Their stuff is all very mostly pretty light, right? It's not super heavy for the most part. Um,
Yeah, I don't think there's anything that's really heavy now that I think about it.
yeah,
I'm not sure.
they're all pretty light. They have the Gray Lady wheat beer
Gray
that I
Lady
like a
is my
lot.
favorite. I
Yeah,
love
that's
Gray Lady. Mhm.
I think Whale's Tail is my favorite of theirs. And I often Marissa always rolls her eyes whenever I order one when we're out, whether it's at the tap room or somewhere else, because I always say, "Could I get the Whale's Tail Pale Ale?" Because it's so much fun to say.
It is hard to
Could
say.
it? Yeah.
It's like a little it's like a Peter Piper picked his paper clips, you know? It's not,
Yes.
the
Hmm.
Human Torch was denied a bank loan, you know?
Nice, nice.
Um,
Where's the bell? There it
I
is.
don't know. It's on your side of the screen. I don't know. Um,
Ah.
so Frank, to continue or in the spirit of Halloween, we have a Halloween themed episode, and I asked you this very important question. Could you come up with a list of things from media, any media, from when you were a child that scared you, regardless of whether it was supposed to be scary or not?
Mhm,
Um,
mhm.
and so I have my own list. I feel like after I made the list, I said, well, everything on here was probably at least supposed to be unsettling, if not downright scary.
Mm.
That's kind of how I landed. Some stuff is supposed to be scary, and I have stories attached to some of them and not to all of them, but and I'm sure you are the same.
Yep.
So, would you like to go first, sir? I
Yes.
ask as you take a sip of your beverage.
Yes. Yes. Thank you for waiting for that. Um, I used to be quite scared of um when I was really little. Actually, I was afraid of the Beast and Beauty and the Beast. I was terrified of that
You
guy.
know,
And
I could see that.
yeah,
He is
um,
supposed to be
he
scary.
is supposed to be scary. I'm talking when I was like 3.
Mhm.
But also the reason this is significant is because it was also my favorite movie at the time. So I insisted on watching it, but he was scary.
It's like a classic. This is not me. My brother was like that. There's a Disney's old Peter Pan, Peter and the Wolf, not Peter Pan, Peter and the Wolf.
Oh,
You
the
remember
cartoon
that?
one?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
there's this bit where, like, the wolf is just steadily coming at the screen, like, "Da, da, da, da." It's got that kinda rhythm to it in the music, and
Do
he
do
just
do
would
do do do
get that's
do do
that's
do
the one,
do
and he would just
do.
run out of the room, but that was
Hmm.
the only one, and then it would be and then he'd be back. It was just that moment.
Yeah.
Horrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
so
Kids are funny that way. I can't wait to see what my kids' stuff is gonna be like that. Like, what are the things that she uh insists on watching even though she's terrified of them?
I have yet to find that with mine
Mm.
because, like, even last night, she was like, "Alright, let's watch Dracula." She's 3, for those of you who don't know, so she wants to watch Bela Lugosi's Dracula, and she's like, "Dracula's so funny. Look at his hand sticking out of that box." You know? Okay. Alright, right on. But if I showed her, like, Nightmare Before Christmas, she'd probably be like, "This is scary."
Mm.
So, but I don't know what the delineating line is between
Yeah.
why is this movie from 1931 okay, but, like but I don't know, something else is too scary.
Yeah. I wonder if it's, like, because it being old and in black and white feels, like, less realistic than even, like, Nightmare Before Christmas. I don't know.
Maybe, I don't know, there's also, like, this weird, like, kids acceptance of things where you're like, "Oh,
Yeah.
Dracula sleeps in a box." You're like, "Okay."
Sure.
You're gonna just keep watching it,
That
like, it
tracks.
doesn't matter.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah, right, it makes sense. Yeah, right, but, like, that movie shows nothing, like, literally nothing.
Yeah.
Creepiest part is people walking slowly and staring.
Right.
Right, and that's it, and the only action sequence that you could consider anything remotely close to action
Mm.
is Dracula picking up Renfield with one hand.
Yes.
He, like, lifts him up, and that's
Mhm.
it, and then it cuts to later him Renfield falling down a bunch of stairs.
Mhm. Mhm.
So, like,
Mhm.
any Disney movie she watches is m more violent, like,
Easily.
horribly more violent
Yeah.
than anything that occurs in that movie. So, but it's just it is funny to me, but that's a good one, The Beast. Do you remember when
Mhm.
you got over it?
Mm. I don't know. I mean, probably in a year or 2, because it remained my favorite movie as a kid for quite a while. So
Mm.
I think I kinda broke that fear, by just watching it so much.
Yeah.
I loved it. That was the
I,
first VHS I ever owned.
ooh, good one, a good one. I don't know what the first VHS I ever owned was. I remember my first DVD, but not my first VHS.
What
They
was the
just kind
DVD?
of always existed. First DVD was Air Force One
Nice.
and Citizen Kane.
Nice.
The double
Wow.
package on my like my eighth, no, 8th grade graduation.
Ah,
That's when I got them. Pretty sure those were the
I
ones.
was
Yeah,
gonna ask who gives Citizen Kane to an 8-year-old, but
my
8th
mom,
8th grade well, okay.
my mom, my mom,
To
and
to an 8th grader is more understandable. To if you were gonna say, like, my 8th birthday, I had questions.
no, but actually, I will lead into my first one considering my mom and things that I'm scared of. There's sometime around the age of 9,
Mhm.
my mom decided that it would be a good idea to sit us all down and watch Psycho.
Oh my gosh.
And so she's like, "You have to be" my mom's thing was like, "You have to be exposed. You have to be exposed to good works of art, good cinema," like, whatever. The Monet paintings, like, the lily pads were in Boston. She's like, "Let's go." We're like, "Who's Monet?" "Doesn't matter. Let's
That's
go."
cool. That's
Yeah,
cool.
so
Yeah.
that's just how she and I love that because that's, like, people talk about, like, "Oh, I'll never make it to Paris to see them," and I'm like, "I saw them when I was a kid, and I actually remember them." Like,
Yeah, that's cool.
yeah,
Yeah.
just because she took us. It was awesome. And so, like, so we went to go, um, see so anyway, yeah, so we watched Psycho,
Mhm.
and I
A
would
at
say I was
home?
oh, yeah, at home. Yep, I was probably somewhere between 9 and 11. That's,
Okay.
like that would be my different like, somewhere in there.
Sure.
'Cause if you watch it, it's like it's really tame by modern horror standards, but when you're not exposed to anything
Yeah.
horrifying. It's a
Mhm.
terrifying movie, and up until I would say maybe last year was the
Mhm.
time stopped checking behind shower curtains to see if anybody was hiding back.
Ah, yes.
That
Yeah.
movie has left an indelible mark in my soul, about the shower. It just has.
Hmm. Mhm. Now
Mhm.
now, because I also yeah, like, sure, I think everyone who's aware of Psycho has that thought at some point, right? The creepy thought of, like, the intrusive thought of, like, "What if there's somebody right there?"
Mhm.
But, what do you think it was that why did you get over it now? What was it that caused that?
As a person nearing 40,
Yes.
I'm not sure, actually.
I mean,
I
why
will
when you're nearing 40 than when you were nearing 30 or, like, what
I don't
is it
know.
being a parent?
Well, I lived alone through the latter half of my 20s. I wasn't married yet.
Yes.
So, like, you're alone, so there you automatically have this heightened sense of insecurity and
Mm.
safety.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
so I think maybe having a child, just like you don't have time to think if what someone might like an unrealistic thought of someone hiding behind the shower curtain when you decide to go to the bathroom. Like,
Yeah.
doesn't it like because you just gotta get in and out of there as fast as possible to go back to your kids. So
Sure.
I think that's what actually did it. That's what cured me.
Okay. Yeah. That's a good I'll accept that. I'll accept
Yeah.
that explanation, yeah.
All right, you go.
Okay. So, um, are you familiar with, so there was a show, on PBS that was called it was an old one. It was, like, from before my time, but they were still showing reruns of it. It was called Becky's Barn, I think? Yeah,
Never heard
very like, yeah, it was kind of an obscure one, but it was the kind of thing with, uh, there's, like, some human characters and, like, some puppets and people in, like, costumes as, like, as animals or whatever, and it was all, like, this thing that took place on a farm. I I I remember seeing it as a kid and being, like, freaked out by the puppets and by some of the costumes and stuff, and it being, like, with regular people and them not acknowledging how weird it all looked. It just it had this creepy look of being, like, from the '80s, so, like, it looked a little old, it
Jank
looked a
and
little
brown, like, or
yeah, like,
yeah.
yes, and, like, the video, uh, quality looked old, and so that adds to, like, the creep factor of it a little bit,
Mhm.
like, looking aged and looking like not quite present day. Um, and yet I remember that at the end of the show, they would say, send away to this address for a coloring book, and I sent away, and they actually sent me the coloring book, which was
Wow, not a scam.
wild. That
Amazing.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
That was yeah. I was like, even as a kid, I was like, I mean, this show probably this is old. Like they probably aren't still doing this, but I'm gonna send it anyway. And it did. And that was when my mom taught me the word perseverance.
Wow.
She was like, "Wow, you persevered and you got what you came for. See, like good. That's perseverance is a good thing." And I was like, "Cause coloring books, got it."
All right, that was a good one. All right. This is a book. We were speaking about Dracula earlier.
Mm.
I have 2 Draculas on here actually. But one of them, do you remember the great illustrated classics?
Oh, loved them.
Yes, right. Amazing. For those of you who don't know, you can Google them. They were just rewritten, retold, abridged versions of classic books,
Yes.
hardback books. They had amazing cover art,
Yes.
some great stuff, and they had pictures on every other page, every couple of pages,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
And we had tons of them. And I had a Dracula one, and I remember sitting in my room reading it, and Jonathan Harker is searching the castle for Dracula's coffin
Hmm.
after he realizes that he's a prisoner and Dracula was crawling on the outside of the wall and all this stuff, and I was so creeped out. I remember putting it down, and I never went back to it. I was like
Wow.
Joey in, like, putting The Shining in the freezer, where it was like, "I just need to not be near this
Mm.
ever again." And that was the first time I was ever creeped, like, probably one of the first times I was ever really creeped out by a book.
Mhm.
There was
Mhm.
a Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, or Aren't You Afraid of the Dark, or what was one of those scary, like, the horror books for kids that had, short stories in them? Do you remember what I'm talking about?
Is it not Are You Afraid of the Dark?
No, that was a
That
show.
was a show. Okay.
I will use my one lookup
Yeah.
eventually for that, but there was a short story in there about, like, a kid, like, sneaking into the zoo at night afterwards, and they were like, a scientist was, like, doing experiments on animals, turning into human animal hybrids, and they, like,
Oh,
turned the kid into one, and that was horrifying. That was also horror. So those are my 2, like, books can be scary. Your
okay.
imagination really can get you.
Sure.
And I love that because now I have, like, every Stephen King book ever back there, plus a whole bunch of others. I teach Frankenstein, like,
Right, right,
whatever.
right.
I got over it,
Sure.
but I like a good scare in a book. There's something really thrilling about it.
That's a good one. That's a really good one. I did love those great illustrated classics. That that I don't know if I would have gotten through, like, Dickens, at a young age without great illustrated classics.
Totally not. Absolutely not.
Mhm.
And
A
by
Christmas Carol specifically was
Dickens,
the
do you
one.
mean oh, I was thinking by Dickens, do you mean, like, now?
No,
Now?
no. Now I would listen to the audiobook and I would love it. In fact, I should do that. I should listen to A Christmas Carol, in December.
Oh,
Anyway,
I do it every year. It's
yeah.
awesome.
You listen to the Patrick Stewart one?
There's a Patrick Stewart one that's really good, the Tim Curry one is really
Uh,
good, and the, Hugh Grant one is also good.
ooh, that's interesting.
Yeah. Probably my least favorite of the 3, but
Sure.
they're all good, and Patrick Stewart has, like, a real affinity for A Christmas Carol, like, he did a one-man show of A
Yeah,
Christmas
yeah.
Carol on his own dime, like, and went around, so that's the one where you feel like he's really in there, he
Mhm,
gets it, but
mhm,
they're all good.
mhm.
Your turn.
Um, do you remember, uh, the, um do you remember Gulliver's Travels? Did you ever see
Yes,
the
I do.
Did you ever see the cartoon? The Fleischer Max Fleischer, as a matter of fact, made a cartoon of Gulliver's Travels a couple of years
I don't
before he
think
made
so.
Superman. Um,
If I saw it, I might go, "Oh, yeah, that's the one I've seen," but
you
there's a few out there,
you might if
so
you did, yeah, you might if you saw it, but, um, it's very well animated. I've since watched it again, like, as a as an adult and been able to appreciate, like, okay, it has that same, very similar to Superman cartoons, like, style of animation, rotoscoped, like, very true to life, high quality. But it was released, I think it was like, the first feature for whatever studio, I guess Paramount, after the success of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. They're like, wow, we can do a full, animated feature. Like, let's take other fairy tales and like old stories and turn them into
And they
into
went with Gulliver's
they went with
Travels. Out of
Gulliver's Travels.
all the fairy tales out there, we went for this satire about the British government. Let's do it. Like, okay.
Yep.
Yep,
That's what they did.
that was
So yeah, it's very good, but as like a 7 or 8 year old, it was the little people were so scary, and the idea of them tying him down and like the you know uh 100 duck-sized horses or whatever running around like that idea really like took hold for me as like so creepy that like, oh my gosh, like what if they come out from under my bed tonight and they tie me down? Like they're little, but they can overpower me. Like that idea was so like, it gets your imagination running
mhm.
and in a scary way.
That's a good one. That's a it's like something that, like, really shouldn't have been scary, but yet it was.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I love when that happens. Um, this one, I'm sure, like, it's not supposed to I would say it's not supposed to be necessarily scary. Oh, by the way, the book is Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark.
Oh, okay.
There's 3 of them, so I'm not sure which one it was,
Got it.
but I'm pretty sure it was one of them.
Got it.
Um, but, this is supposed to it's definitely supposed to be creepy, but maybe not in the way that has lived with me forever,
Mm.
but it's the 3 good fairies going into Maleficent's castle in Sleeping Beauty.
Yep.
Like, the Tchaikovsky's like, "Da da 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 da, da 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 da, ba ba ba," like, that is anxiety incarnate for me.
Ah.
It's like that's what anxiety feels like, and I can still feel it when I watch it today. Like, obviously, I know what's gonna happen, but, like, the music starts, and they're like, "At the castle, Philip," and then they go, like, that's it, like, my chest gets tight, and I can, like,
Mm.
feel like I have a real visceral reaction to it, and I have ever since I was a kid, and it's just
Huh.
bonkers that's like but there's just something so mesmerizingly haunting about all of it. I can't, uh, unravel myself
That's
from it.
that is a really interesting one. That's because like I can totally see how that was.
Mhm. It's the same feeling I get it's the same feeling I got when I but to a lesser extent when I watched Robin Hood, Disney's Robin Hood when I was a kid,
Mm-hmm.
and when they were going, "3 o'clock and all is well," and
Sure.
Robin and Little John are sneaking into the castle. Same feeling. There's something about sneaking in the castle in the middle of the night that
Yeah,
I
wow, that's
like, it's just like, a
it
triggering, horrifying thing.
much like Quicksand is the kind of thing you thought you were gonna be doing a lot more of in adulthood and then just never
Yeah,
really.
exactly. Well, between that and then, like, Jonathan in the castle searching for Dracula, and I have this, like, weird thing with castles, I guess, like,
Wow.
yeah, I just didn't realize that
Hmm,
until this moment right now. What a breakthrough. I'll have to tell my therapist. Um,
there you go. I'm glad we could do that for you.
how was your week? Well, I found out I'm actually afraid of castles, so how's your week?
Nice.
Yeah. So,
Uh,
anti-capitalist that way, I guess,
yeah,
anti-imperialist, I
yeah.
don't know. Give me another one.
That's it. That's all the things I'm afraid of. I'm
Oh,
a very
okay,
brave person, and I've never been afraid of anything else. No, you know what? Actually, you mentioning Robin Hood, uh, reminds me of well, between that and the Sleeping Beauty, um, the the a lot of it's cartoon. I'm realizing as I think back, um, but the I've always found like the dragon in Sleeping Beauty to be as scary
mhm,
as a like that sequence actually. Um, yeah, like the fire, like the way
mhm,
the fire spreads and everything was very very. Uh, I remember being very like taken in by it and very like very invested in the story, and very like scared of the fire and the dragon in particular. Um, but in Robin Hood, I was always nervous about the um when he's panhandling,
mhm.
uh uh getting like caught by the
Oh, the
sheriff.
sheriff.
Yeah.
Really? Like,
Yeah.
just, like,
I was
close and
nervous for him. Like you reminded me of this wasn't
yeah.
was this like a scary thing? No, but you're reminding me of that with
Yeah, you're nervous for them, that's a
yeah.
real thing. I have some things that I was legitimately scared of if we're since we're running out of time.
Sure.
If you don't have more, I have a few.
Hit
Um,
me.
I was scared of the broken appliances in the dump in the Brave Little Toaster.
Oh, okay. Okay, okay.
The scene is horrifying. If you've
Yeah.
never watched the Brave Little Toaster, go to YouTube and watch that scene. It is scary.
Mhm.
Now it is scary. Um, I was um a comic book. I had a comic, a Marvel comic, What If comic where
Mm.
they, like, take, like, what if, Captain America was actually Russian or whatever, like, things
Yeah.
like that. And this was issue 88, 1996. Spider-Man Peter Parker gets bit by a spider, but doesn't get spider powers, he just transforms into a giant spider.
Ah.
And it's really, like, macabrely
Huh.
presented, and it really like, I couldn't read it as a kid. Like, it was too much. Too much for me.
Huh.
Used to go to Blockbuster, the good old
Yes.
days.
Yes.
And, like, when you're walking through the aisles, you're like, "Action, action, action," and all of a sudden you end up in horror, and
Yeah.
you're like, "Whoa, hey, hey, this" and so, and,
Too
like
far, back up.
fire back up, and, like but all the covers would be kind of mesmerizing in their own way, and so they would attract you, and you're like, "What is this? I want to know. I wanna look at the back." But there was a cover for a few things. One, Pinhead from Hellraiser creeps
Mhm.
me out. I still haven't seen a Hellraiser movie.
Oh,
Like, I
wow.
went through it. Like, there's something about the pins in the head. I'm not having it.
Sure.
Not interested.
Yep.
But there was a Friday the 13th movie. It was Jason Goes to Hell or Jason in Hell or whatever
Mhm.
it is, but it's like the hockey mask with this, like, weird demon slug worm thing
Mhm,
coming
mhm.
out of the eyes, and it was gross, and I hated it, but I kept going back and looking at it, like, over and over and over again, and this, like it was almost like real like, people who slow down for car accidents. It was like one of those I
Oh.
should look away, but I can't, and I want to,
Hmm.
and that I still have images of that, in my head, and that along with, Bram Stoker's Dracula, Francis Ford Coppola's film,
Yes.
which I cited to my wife as one of the only movies that to this day still legitimately scares me.
Hmm.
Like, the opening sequence of that film, there's something about the way he films it, the silhouettes, but also the music.
Mm, mm.
Like, it gets into your soul, and you're like, "This is actually what evil sounds like, just so you're aware. Here it is.
Mm.
Like, here it is for you." And I just, like it just lingers, it just lingers in me. I will watch it though,
Oh,
because it's
yeah, sure.
really good, but it, like yeah, same that same anxiety is right there.
Meanwhile, your daughter's next to you like, "Oh, that Dracula, he's
That Dracula,
hilarious.
he's funny, he's hilarious.
He's a hoot."
He is funny. He likes puns. "I never drink wine."
Yeah.
It's a good pun. Last one I will leave off. I don't know if I ever told you the story. I was in the grocery store with my mom. I was a kid, 1998, I think, somewhere around there. So I was 10, 11. Maybe it was even earlier than that. I don't know. Did you use your lookup yet?
I have
Do me
not.
a favor.
I'd be
Look up
happy
when
to.
the movie Wolf starring Jack Nicholson came out.
'Kay.
So there was an image of Jack Nicholson on a cover magazine. It was just Jack's face, being Jack, creepy just by smiling.
Yes.
Um, and uh, and I had definitely seen Batman at that point, and so like I knew who Jack Nicholson was, even like among probably other things even.
Sure.
And so I asked my mom what were they talking about in the magazine, and she looked and she was like, "Oh, he's in a new movie called Wolf in which he transforms into a werewolf." And that was it. That's all I needed to hear to have a night to have a nightmare that night. Like,
Oh,
that's it. And I had an extraordinarily vivid nightmare that I still remember to this day about being in
really?
this, like, night circus, night fair type thing,
Ugh.
and we couldn't find my brother, and we looked up, and he's on this, like, giant, like, Pride Rock style, like, kind of like, cliff edge, and he was transforming into a werewolf, and he, like it was very cinematic, like, he, like, howled in the moon, and then, like, he chased us all through the fairgrounds and whatever. It was, objectively, a really entertaining, like, little short horror
Sound
movie for my subconscious.
sounds like
Um
an adventure at least.
True, but I remember being terrified and waking up and, like, wanting to go to my parents' room, like,
Mm,
you jump in the bed and whatever, but you had to cross the stairway from my room to get to their room, like, our stairway growing up had 2 walls on it, so um, you couldn't see down
yeah.
or in or anything like that. Truly terrifying.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
Mhm. I still remember, like, jumping over basically, like, the doorway opening to make it inside, but, good stuff. Still haven't seen the movie, won't do it. Like, I'm pretty sure it's a
Ugh.
comedy, like, it's not even a real movie, but it's okay.
Well, comedies are not real movies? Wow.
No, I mean, it's not a
Uh,
real horror movie, sorry.
yeah. It is from 1994.
Oh, okay,
Um,
alright, so I was much younger than alright, I
yes.
wasn't 10 or whatever.
But this cast is insanely good. Uh, okay, so you've got directed by Mike Nichols.
Really?
Mhm. Uh, Michelle Pfeiffer.
Mm,
So 2
mm,
Batman alums.
mhm.
Uh, James Spader, Richard Jenkins, Christopher Plummer, David Hyde Pierce. Like, this is a really
That's a stacked cast.
stacked cast.
What's the classification on
And
it?
and,
Is it a horror movie?
the music was composed by Ennio Morricone.
What?
Like,
What?
yeah, yeah.
This is a hidden gem of a
Right?
movie, if there ever was one. I wonder if it's bad. Like,
I don't know. It's called a romantic horror is how
hmm,
they categorize it. Um, and yeah, wow. This is David Schwimmer has a small role. Wow.
94, so it's just, like, at the beginning of Friends.
Right at the
That's
beginning of Friends. Yeah, he might have shot it before. Who knows?
probably
Yeah.
mhm. I'm gonna
Anyway,
watch it. I solved it. I'm gonna so that this is it. This is the moment.
oh my gosh, they filmed it in New York City, Long Island, and Old Westbury Gardens is a place that it's like an old mansion on Long Island that I've been to.
Hmm,
Uh, and they use that for the exteriors of a that's so interesting. Hmm, cool. Fun facts.
fun facts
Fun
indeed.
facts.
Frank,
Fascinating.
lay down some more fun facts, like where people can find us.
Some fun facts for you are you can find us at beerwithgeeks.com. You can email us at beerwithgeeks@gmail.com. You can find us anywhere that you get your podcasts, including now YouTube. And you can rate and review us in all those places. And you can support us at patreon.com/thoughtbubbleaudio. Please hit that like and subscribe button here if you're watching us on YouTube. I got to get you saying that now. And yeah, look forward to hearing what was your scary what was your scary media that scared you even if it wasn't horror? Let us know in the comments down below.
Right on. Frank, it was wonderful to see you as always. So happy Halloween, and until next time, cheers.
Cheers.